In this video, I'm gonna give you guys 10 tips and tricks that pro players use when using the clue character. So without wasting any more time, first let's start with tip number 1. So guys, when you activate the clue character skill, she will show you the positions of your enemies in the minimap who are within 75 meters for 10 seconds. But the problem is that she will not show you the position of enemies who are in a prone or crouched position. So remember not to let your guard down if she shows that there aren't any enemies nearby. But as you guys know, most of the time enemies will be either standing or running. So clue skill will greatly help you to track and hunt down these enemies. And guys, clue's character skill can be very useful for players that like to rush. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 2. As I said earlier in tip number 1, clue will help you to locate the position of your enemies, but the cool thing about clue is that she will also share the location of your enemies with your teammates. This makes the clue character one of the best characters for squad matches. So when you and your teammates play squad matches, I'd recommend at least one of you guys to use the clue character. That's because her skill can be a game changer in a match. So I highly recommend at least one of you guys to use the clue character when playing squad matches. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 3. The clue character skill can be very useful when using grenades. If you know your enemy's location, it will be very easy to time and throw a grenade at your enemy. Now let's take this clip as an example. When I used the clue character's ability, I was able to see that an enemy was taking cover near me. If I would have just rushed straight in, there's a chance that the enemy could have taken me down. Since I knew his location, I was able to eliminate the enemy by timing and throwing the grenade according to the enemy's position. So if you are the grenade user in your squad, I think that the clue character can be very useful for you. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 4. I think most of you guys have gone through a situation where when you are attacking an enemy, another enemy comes from the back and takes you down. So before engaging in a fight, I'd recommend you guys to use the clue character skill. By doing this, you can decide whether or not to engage in the fight according to the location of your enemies. If you know your enemy's location, it will be really hard for them to do a surprise attack on you. So clue skill can be very useful in such situations. The 5th tip that I want to give you guys is to use clue's ability when you hear footsteps or sounds nearby. Most of the time, it's a bit hard to find your enemy's exact location when you hear footsteps nearby. So in such situations, you can use clue's ability to quickly know your enemy's location. As I said earlier, it will be really hard for an enemy to do a surprise attack on you if you know their location. And guys, knowing your enemy's location will also give you a great advantage in the fight. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 6. The clue character skill can be very useful in Clash squad matches. In Clash squad matches, you only get to fight in a small part of the map. So clue's ability can really help you guys a lot because she locates enemies who are within the range of 75 meters. As I said earlier, clue can share the enemy's location with your teammates. So if you and your teammates know the location of your enemies, you guys can plan a strategy on how to attack them. This will give your squad a great advantage over the enemy squad. So I highly recommend at least one of your teammates to use the clue character when playing Clash squad matches. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 7. Just like in Clash squad matches, the clue character can also be very useful in lone wolf matches. As you guys know, in the current lone wolf map, there are many containers everywhere. So this will increase the chance of your enemies doing a surprise attack on you. But as I said earlier, if you know your enemy's location, it will be very hard for them to do a surprise attack on you. And you guys can also easily hunt down your enemies if you already know their locations. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 8. Now I'm going to show you guys a very powerful character combination that you guys can use to easily track and hunt down your enemies. This character combination is called the ultimate tracker combination. For this, first you need to equip the clue character as your active character. Next we need to add 3 passive characters to this combination. The first passive character on this combination is going to be Moko. Moko will display a tag on your enemy for 5 seconds after you attack them. Just like Clue, Moko will also share the enemy's tag with your teammates. The second passive character that we are going to use is the Shiro character. When you are hit by an enemy who is within 80 meters, a tag will be displayed on top of your enemy for 6 seconds. But unlike Moko and Clue, Shiro will not share the tag with your teammates, but still it can be very useful to know the exact location of an enemy when they are firing at you. The third passive character of this character combination is going to be the Auto character. When you eliminate an enemy when using the Auto character, the location of that enemy's teammates who are within 75 meters of the elimination spot will be revealed. Just like Moko and Clue, Auto will share the enemy's locations with your teammates. You guys can also use the Draki pet with this combination because Draki will help you to spot 4 enemies who are using medkits within 30 meters for 5 seconds. The 9th tip that I want to give you guys is to first use Clue's ability at the beginning of the match when you land. If by any chance an enemy or a group of enemies land and loot near you, you can use Clue's ability to know their location. Then you can get to a safe place and loot the necessary items before engaging in a fight with them straight away. The 10th tip that I want to give you guys is to not use Clue's ability in unnecessary situations. So guys, I have seen some players that use Clue's skill right away as soon as her skill resets. And when they face an important situation, they'll have to wait until Clue's ability to cool down and reset. So I recommend you guys to only use Clue's ability in important situations such as before engaging in a fight or before rushing into a house. If you guys want to know tips and tricks on the Dimitri character, check out this video. In here, I talk about 10 tips and tricks that pro players use when using the Dimitri character.